What's up guys, DrFeelGood here, back again with another video prescription. And today I want to talk about these third parties, as I'm pretty sure you have gathered from the title. And I have just one question. How come third party games almost always come with a catch or exception on Nintendo consoles? Now, before anyone gets ahead of themselves, I'm not just referring to the Switch, but also to the Wii U and other past Nintendo consoles. Let me elaborate on exactly what I'm referring to. Look at some of the third-party games on the Switch. For example, we'll start there since that's recent memory. FIFA 18 on the Switch, for whatever reason, and I'm not going to even remotely try to delve into that, but from what I heard, upon release there was no friends lobby. Now, I think that's kind of crazy. So, a game which I think at least half of it is online centric, you mean to tell me there was no friends lobby? And I know, either it got it later on in a patch or will get it, but I'm saying, why is that? But that wasn't the only issue with FIFA. Apparently, so I heard, it wasn't using the same engine as the other platforms. Why is that? I mean, technically the Switch is a 9th gen console. I would think they would utilize things that they could not utilize on the 8th gen versions. But that's neither here nor there. The next example I have is Doom. Now with Doom, they split up the campaign and multiplayer, whereas the campaign comes on the cartridge, and if you want to play the multiplayer, you must download it, which is roughly 9 gigabytes in size. Now, I applaud them for giving us that option, because some people may not care for multiplayer while others do. But at the same time, the other versions of this game did not have to deal with that. And I don't want to hear the excuse, well, the cart wasn't big enough. They could have purchased a bigger cart. Or, you know what they could have done? Optimized. Yeah, they could have optimized it. Okay? As I said, it's not a big takeaway, but even still, the game is split up. And although the multiplayer portion is free, it's still split up. So if one day I decide to download the multiplayer aspect of the game and the servers are going through maintenance, or they're down, or hey, maybe that game is just not active, I can't do that for that game. And to me, that's kind of a negative. But as I stated, the other versions did not have to deal with this. The next, and on top of that, the Switch version is 30 frames per second. Now, I'm not a resolution or frame rate whore, and I'm not saying, I won't sit up here and say that every shooter has to be 60 frames per second, because that is definitely not true. However, with Some optimization, I'm pretty sure they could have achieved 60 frames per second as they did on the other platforms. That's all I'm saying. I'm not saying the game won't be playable at 30 frames per second. I'm simply saying, to prove my point, the other versions were 60 frames per second, and the Switch is 30. The next example I have is NBA Playgrounds. Any developer, of course, but even still, third party. I love NBA Playgrounds. I do love the game. However, the Switch version launched without online play. And we were promised we would get it within the first week. It literally took over a month to get it. Okay? Second, the Switch version gets patches and updates last. Now, I know there could be other factors that influence this, such as maybe Nintendo has certain size restrictions on patches, whatever the case may be. But still, and I also consider the fact that this could be a small indie developer or have a small team. But why don't you just release the patch for all the consoles simultaneously? Why don't you hold back for all of them? In a sense, it's only fair. But yeah, just like the NBA Playgrounds recently got, I think, DLC for all platforms except the Switch. Now, of course, they say for the Switch it's coming later on, but you get my point. There's always a catch when it comes to a Nintendo console. Let's go back, in time a little bit. Let's look at the Wii U. Splinter Cell Blacklist, a game I absolutely love, on the Wii U lacked local co-op. Nintendo has been an advocate for local co-op, you can say, since the beginning. Even when the online generation of consoles came in, Nintendo was still the last one primarily advocating for local co-op. And you mean to tell me, of all the features that could be missing from a Nintendo version, you chose local co-op? That's sad. And the Wii U could have benefited more so from local co-op because the gamepad can provide one player with a screen while the TV gives the other player a screen. Similar to Black Ops 2. And even with that missing feature, the Wii U version was still the best and definitive version. Still, that was dumb. Batman Arkham Origins. Need I really say more? The Wii U version had no multiplayer. And if there was DLC, I'm pretty sure that it didn't get it. I could be wrong. Correct me if I'm wrong. Call of Duty Black Ops 2 on the Wii U received no DLC, with exception to Nuketown, which came roughly 2 years after the game launched. 2 years it took to get Nuketown, one map. And that also was the definitive version out of all of them. Mass Effect got a trilogy on the Xbox 360 and the PlayStation 3, and I believe that trilogy was $50. Mass Effect 3 released on the Wii U for $60. Now, if the other consoles got a trilogy, why wouldn't you release a trilogy for the Wii U since Mass Effect has never been on a Nintendo console whatsoever? It doesn't make sense. And my last example, and it's a big one, we're going to bring it back to the present, is NBA 2K18. This game requires a 5 GB save file that must go on the internal memory. Okay. But even the physical game requires an external micro SD card. And to me, that's not even the biggest crime of this game. How the hell does a Switch version get separate release dates for the digital and physical? Can someone tell me that? They were about like a month apart. The game released first digitally, and then we just recently got a physical version, I believe. What kind of shit is that? Then of course the game is 30 frames per second as opposed to 60, and this may not even be an issue, but even still, with a little optimization, I'm not saying they did none, but with a little optimization, I'm pretty sure they could have achieved something like that. I'm just saying, you look at all this stuff, some of these third-party games, when they come to Nintendo console, there's always an exception. There's always something that's being held back or cut out or done differently. And typically, the Nintendo console itself is either more capable or more versatile than the others, like with the Wii U and the gamepad, and the Switch and the Joy-Cons and the gyro controls. Just saying. But anyway, let me know what you guys think about this in the comments, and as I always say, keep it gaming.